Margot Levet here. I can't say enough about what's going on between Womel Magazine and Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation, because all of March we are paying homage. We are paying tribute to 25 powerful women to follow for Women's History Month. So today is another opportunity to meet one of these powerful women. And I'm talking about Krisstina Wise. What happens when you come from poverty, but you discover the fact that you are able to make money? You are a high achiever. You are the one that brings most of the money into the house, but you don't touch the money. You really don't have a good relationship with money, and you trust your husband to handle it. You make the money and you trust your husband to do what's right. What happens when all of that changes? What happens when the money that you are so able to make on a regular basis, you are on your deathbed and you are not able to make any money? As a matter of fact, it takes you months to get your health back. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Well, hang on. Krisstina Wise is going to tell her story, give us some inside information. It's transformational. Welcome to Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. This podcast was created for the boomer woman leaving corporate, and now you're looking to reinvent yourself, become an author, an entrepreneur, a podcaster. Well, each episode will leave you with clarity. You will come away with the yes, I can and yes, I will reinvent myself mindset. So come on, let's do this. I'm your host, Margot Levet. Hello, everyone. Well, Margot Levet back with another conversation with one of the 25 powerful women to watch in the month of March. You know, this is a list that was compiled by Womel Magazine. It's a very exclusive list. And as I have these conversations with the women who made the cut, as we shall say, I can understand why Nagalia chose these women, why they are so worthy of honor. And today, I have a woman with a fabulous story, self-made multi-millionaire. Make millions, lose millions. Just at the thought of losing millions, some of us are shaking in our boots. But the story that and the action that this woman is able to take and change lives because of her ability to make money, lose money, and now train all of us. It's simply amazing. So I'm going to try to keep my feet on the ground. I am totally immersed in this conversation. So let me introduce you to Krisstina Wise. Welcome, Krisstina. Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Oh, I tell you, what you do, what you're doing, I think to do it justice, I can't cut out any parts. I've been going over in my mind, how do we start this conversation? I think it just has to start at the beginning. And I know that that's where most people start with you, but we have to lay down the blocks, the steps. So will you tell us, who is Krisstina Wise? Where does your story begin?
Oh, well, my story begins in a teeny tiny town in the middle of central Arizona in a travel trailer sized trailer home. And that's where I began. And my mother was pregnant. I didn't know my father. And that's where it began. And so I like to share that. That used to be very shameful for me to admit that that's where I started for many, many years. And now it's just part of my story. Mm-hmm. And it was a very dysfunctional upbringing, alcoholism, neglect. You know, so many of us have very similar stories. Mine's not unique. And growing up in that type of environment, I just didn't have much of an education. even though, it was a small town and there wasn't a lot of money in the town just in general, we were even on the other, on the other side of the track, so to speak. So I grew up from a very young age, like feeling ashamed of not having money, feeling left out, like I wasn't chosen, I was pointed at, I was made fun of. And that really drove me from, when I was old enough to make some money, that kind of created this ethic of wanting to make money. And what I learned from that young age that planted, a way of thinking or a money mindset, there was good that came out of it, and there was not so good that came out of that. The good side came out of it that I just went to work. I thought, well, the only way for me to get myself out of the situation is I have to get myself out of the situation. So from a young age, I started making money, and I'd come up with all types of inventive ways to do that. And what I found is that once I could start buying the clothes and started being able to have the things that my peers had, then I was invited to come over. I started fitting in. And so it created this belief that money is the way you're accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And, so then I just would make money to buy my way to feel included.
And again, I don't want to stop you right there, but that is a very important part. And so many of us, we are there, but we will never own that. We will never own that behavior, that thought. And Krisstina, so that was what the conclusion that you came to. I have to maintain this position. I can make money. I'm making money. And the more money I make, the more Christian Louboutins I can have on my feet. And surely they're going to invite me to the Hamptons. And it goes on and on and on. Where did you find out that all of this achievement is not where it's at for me? Making all of this money, my God, there's more. If they don't like me for who I am, what am I to do with this? Take us there.
Yeah, because we're programmed by the time we're like 7 to 10 years old. And so whatever those mindsets or beliefs, that they really get baked in. And then we're subconscious, it's subconscious beliefs. Like we can't see them. We don't know that those narratives and patterns are running. So that's the one that ran for me for a long time. Now, the good side of that is I always worked and made money and was great at making money. So I was able to have a lot of achievement. And then, but with that, to skip over part of the story, I was such an achiever, but I was always empty inside, that no matter where I got, it was never good enough. And then I'd push myself harder. I'd try to be more perfect. I would open up the next business. And really what I did, and I was always looking, because even that childhood pattern for me is that I always worked to even excel, not even just making money, but I was a perfect student. I was a straight A student. I was a star athlete. I was liked by the teachers and everything, and I was always trying to be more perfect and more perfect because this kid wanted her parents to pay attention to her. And so when all the other parents were in the game, and I'd throw, the winning score to, in the basketball, and the stand, it's a small town and it's girls' sports. So it's not like there's a lot of people in the stands, but it's mostly parents in the stands, and all the other the girls' parents were there, but mine weren't. And I was always looking for my parents to feel proud. Like I just threw the winning score, And so that got baked in also. So my entire adult life was that next achievement, trying to fill that void of look at me, look how good I am. And, my parents didn't feel it, but nobody can feel that for us afterwards. But that hole was there. So I kept reading that pattern. It just be trying to be more perfect and better and bigger and scale. And I mean, I was very successful. But in 2013, it nearly killed me. Like literally, I nearly lost my life from living this life that was unsustainable. I ran myself into the ground and I nearly lost everything. So it's just that, because I just realized that and money paid for it. Like money bought all those toys and bought all that awareness and all that accolades. But no matter what I acquired or achieved, I was just as empty. and that just sent me on the pattern. Now it looked really healthy because I was uber successful and had a lot of awards, on my walls. I mean, I could stack all four walls in my office with, all those achievements. But again, at the end of the day, I just realized that on my deathbed that man, I'm dying. I haven't even lived yet. I've been living my life for trying to get some feedback that I'm good enough and worthy enough through achievement and through money. And I was lying there with realizing with all this remorse and regret that that's not what this is about.
Wow. I mean, you are an overachiever, a highly effective and impactful woman, making tons of money, more money. I read you said you made in 1 year, you made more money than your parents ever made. That type of the lifestyle that you wanted, the children. But then here it's run you into the ground and it's almost time to die. How long did that ordeal last? And how did you begin? Well, I guess I understand how you were able to link money with your health. Now here you are having to pay. Lord, please let me have my life. Take
Yeah,
us
absolutely.
there.
I've often said that do you think Steve Jobs would have given his last billionth away to have a few more years at life? And we'd probably all kind of venture to say, yeah, I probably would. And I was in that same spot. I mean, it wasn't billions, but it was a decent amount of money. And what I realized on my deathbed was, man, none of that matters. Like, I didn't care about my achievements. I didn't care about my Range Rover. I didn't care about my lake house. I didn't care about my business. I didn't care about my success. I mean, I kid you not, none of it mattered. All I wanted was my life back. All I wanted was the time that I wasted on taking care of, like, trying to prove myself to everyone else versus being present with, who I was with and what I was doing. And I just wanted all of it back. And I was just broken hearted, like, oh my God. And, just, it was just so obvious. So, and at the same time, to answer your question, like, how long did it take? Like the first 9 months, we couldn't figure out what was wrong. And I was just slowly deteriorating. I mean, all my hair had fallen out. I was like 90 pounds. I couldn't keep food down. I couldn't sleep. My brain, I couldn't finish sentences. Like, my brain was completely messed up. And what I was doing that was kind of the similar pattern is I kept going to doctor, say, save me, fix me, save me, fix me, save me, fix me. And then, I'd get my 15, 30 minutes with the doctor. They'd put me on a different medication, and I'd never taken a medication in my life. Now I'm like on 12 medications by the end of this 9 months, and just desperate, trying to get better. And then it finally occurred to me, I don't even remember what kind of that breakthrough moment was, kind of that aha moment, but it finally occurred to me that nobody can save me but myself. Like, a doctor can't save me. Healing's an inside out job. Love is an inside out job. And it just became like this, like, oh my gosh, I have to save me. So I went from, like, again, everything was all external validation. Everything was fix me, save me, make me feel better about myself. All of that is what kept me going. But it's like, it's thick as formica. It's just a shell, because underneath it's very empty. So then when I finally realized this, then I just got in touch with spirit, of total spiritual, like, of the inside of, like, oh my God, like, I am love. I am spirit, connecting to spirit. And so I have to heal me. So that's when everything shifted, is when I realized, like, I need to learn this. I need to take control. I need to, I got myself into this mess. I need to get myself out. And that just became kind of this unraveling of all that external and trying to slowly but surely internal. And it was through that change that then I started healing mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Slow, 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 slow. But it went from just kind of, going worse, 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 dark, 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 worse, 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 darker, 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 to that pivotal moment when it just was teeny tiny incremental improvements, but that switched to healing. And here I am today. And so kind of some big lessons, like the money lessons that came out of that, is I'd studied money. I became really good at it after, being in a situation where I couldn't feed my kids and being completely destitute after divorce, even though I'd made a lot of money. I was afraid of money. So I just gave it away to my husband at the time and let him do it because I was great at making it, but I didn't want to touch it because I was scared to death of it.
Yeah.
So I just thought as long as I could make a lot of it, then I'd be just fine. Then I was divorced and, didn't have any money and had tax bills and, IRS liens and credit card debt. And the only way my kids and I could survive is peers at work brought over furniture and filled their fridge and paid the utilities for 6 months. And now here I'm feeling totally ashamed again, just like I was a kid and I couldn't afford anything. And the only way we could survive many times as kids is, from charity, which was nice, but it still felt like, there's shame attached to it. So now I'm experiencing that same childhood shame because the only way that I can survive and feed my children is by taking charity, which thank God it was there because I don't know what way to do it, but at the same time. So that became this pivotal moment where it's like, I never want to be here again. I'm going to learn this money thing. So I became very good at money. I'd made my millions. I'm sitting, really good and success and, my businesses and have assets, but then I get sick. Now I have to traded my health for wealth. And now I have to use all my wealth to get my health back because it was very expensive 2 years later because traditional medicine didn't cover it. It was all alternative and all this stuff that's not covered by insurance, let's put it that way. But it didn't even matter because I developed not only this whole new relationship with myself, I realized that money's an inside job. It's not about look at me because of my money. It's about, I have the spiritual relationship by money that started doing as well, that I had more gratitude for it and appreciation, and it could go and it could come back. And it's meant to serve a purpose, and it was there for when I needed it. And now it was gone, and now it could come back again. So even that became the spiritual journey that now I teach money very practically, but as a spiritual relationship that we can have, so we can feel a different love and connectivity to it that's very healthy. Yes. So that's what happened is that when I was started getting healthy, is that I realized that I'd created kind of this toxic life around myself and I needed to walk away from that. And so I just reinvented, and I actually had an agreement with Mother You that said, hey, if I get another chance, I promise I'm going to share everything I can. If it's 1 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 or 10 million, I promise you, I'm going to just share my lessons so I can, hopefully help others not either avoid the mistakes that I've made, or if they've had similar mistakes, to know like, hey, we can all reinvent and we can completely come back and be better than ever.
That's my favorite word, reinvent. And I was going to ask you about Mother You. You've kept your promise to Mother You. You really have taken it on a spiritual level. I can imagine moving in life at the rapid pace that you were operating at for so many years. Spirituality really didn't have too much of a place. And now you have, at least you had time to peel back what took years to become. So now you are a podcaster. You have this fabulous blog. You teach us to take charge of money, our health, and happiness. You put it all together so that we're not afraid of money. We don't have to be afraid of it. You advocate having a relationship with it, correct?
Yeah, like that's the first place to look is there's healthy functional relationships and there's unhealthy dysfunctional relationships in all categories. But we can take, let's say, a couple that's married, and there's one couple that's very functional and healthy and happy, and they've got this great relationship and communicate and they're very loving and enduring. And the next doors is they don't have a healthy relationship, and they're at each other, and they're neither one of them are happy. So it's just 2 different types of relationships. And a lot of times we just have to learn, because we bring our baggage with us if we don't reinvent and we don't do our cleanup. So what I invite people to do first is to really look at their relationship, that if we don't have a loving, kind, compassionate, grateful, appreciative, attentive relationship with our money, then it's probably in the other category. And that means money controls us one way or another. We're usually in a place of scarcity, never enough, competitive, angry. It could be any series of emotions. It's like the opposite of love and connection. So it is, again, when it's a spiritual thing, it just means no matter how much it is, we're grateful for what is. We're grateful for what is there. And we can have the ambitions and that motivational energy to continue to grow, like we grow ourselves, like plants
Yes.
grow and life grows. So we want to be satisfied with where we are and grateful because we've been the creator of what we have so far, and we can continue to create and grow to what we're going to become. So
Mm.
when money is just kind of the fabric of this built-in piece of part of the value on the monetary side of who I am and what I do, and I'm always going to be growing that. We don't have to be in this hunger or this chase or this feeling of never enough. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
really, again, kind of reversing the relationship we have. And it's like in the love relationships, if we look at the one that's probably healthy, they spend time together, they talk with one another, they listen to one another, they appreciate, they're grateful, they do all these things. That's the relationship we want with our money. Like if we're avoiding it, neglecting it, not looking at our bills, not doing it because we have that kind of that's that fear that's way deep back in, somewhere, that's going to mean that's probably going to ripple into the financial situation that we don't want, because the cause and effect. So when we start from a place of gratitude and a different relationship, it starts to open up a whole new set of possibilities.
Wow. I love that. I mean, you hear people speak of a relationship with their money, but there's something almost musical as I hear you speak and really explain. It's almost musical and doable, very doable. Because I read where you said we really have to our financial state. We have to understand money, and you wrote a book. Also, I think it's on Amazon. So we have the books, we have the master classes, we have you speaking from a place of knowing, so we really can learn and we can drop the shackles of being the chaser, the pursuer of more money, neglecting our health, our family, our relationships. I did an interview a couple of days ago, and a woman told me about a gentleman who spent his whole life building up a business. And the man loved the business. It was a technology business. He was going to sell that business to her and her father. So one day, one weekend, the guy's at work instead of at home, dies of a massive heart attack right there at the business. So the business that this woman and her father were going to buy later down the road, now they have the opportunity to buy it. But I thought, oh my God, that's how you leave this earth. Just work yourself into the ground. Rather than what you propose to us, we can still make the money, not starve ourselves to death, have a good life, and enjoy life, be in the moment. Is that what I hear you say, Krisstina
Yes,
Wise?
understand. So we have to get out, from my opinion and my own, experience, is if we're in the chase, like money's out there somewhere, like we have to go get it, we have to chase it, we have to find it, we have to compete for it, then it's elusive. It's always kind of out of our hands. And again, there's never enough, like we're trying to grab for it. But when it's an inside out job, like we are money. Like
Yes.
we're the magical creators of the whole anything we want to manifest and create in our life. But a lot of it, we have to get rid of that childhood programming, like that is in our way, that we don't know that's running all the time unless we break it. So we need to become aware that where money is money's this, it's a combination of the mindset relationship that we've talked about. And something to do there is start listening to the words you say to yourself, just to yourself in your head, or to your kids, or do you say things like there's never enough, or money doesn't grow on trees, or money's really hard, or like think of what language you use, because the language you use is representative of the thoughts and beliefs that you have that you're probably not aware of. And if we're saying things like more scarce comments like, oh, money's just for them, not for me, or money doesn't grow in trees, money's hard, that's we're going to create that. We're going to keep those words to be true.
Mhm.
So that's a good thing, is just start listening to what words you say. I found caught myself with my kids when they were young. It's just saying, oh, we can't afford it. We can't afford it. We can't afford it. And I started hearing them like say, oh, I can't afford it. I'm like,
Mhm.
no, that's just, what just changed the language. Like you could afford it. You're just choosing not that because something else is more important right now. it's like however we can just restructure the language. So that's the mindset, the relationship. Again, another evidence is if we're neglecting our finances, we're afraid to open the bills, no matter how much money we make. Again, those are all signs that there's work to do on the relationship and mindset piece.
Oh my.
The other part of money is skill set. Money is actually a life skill. But we're never taught money.
No.
We're taught we should go work for it and pay bills. That's basically what we're taught, but we're not even taught that. We just kind of figure that out once we get to be adults, and somehow we do okay. But there's a skill to money also. And if our money's not working the way we want to look at our mindset, and we probably need to know something we don't know, because we can only continue to do with the knowledge and information we currently have. So if what we believe and what we do aren't creating the situations we want in life, then we need to look at what we believe, and we need to probably learn something different to do. Yes. So that's part of it too, is just understanding that there is a skill to money to get out of kind of the rat race and that month-to-month feeling, and just build financial security, some peace of mind, feel financially successful, start building, slowly but surely, just building that nest egg, if you will, that just creates more financial security and success. But ultimately, it's not about the money. The money serves as the cost of underwriting, the cost of living a wealthy life, like having the money to live well. Yes. It doesn't have to be about the possessions. It doesn't mean possessions are bad, but it can just be about having the money that your life is good. You can pay for the goods or services that make your life feel rich from the inside out. Has nothing to do about what anybody else thinks of you. This is your life, what you want for you. Mm-hmm. But again, everything comes from this inward work versus like looking for outward to try to fix this thing. Wow. So that's what I do. I just help people really rewire their mindset, rewrite their money story, and learn everything we should have learned in school about money, but they didn't offer that class. Mm-hmm. And it's very simple. And, I'll just complete by saying that's why, one, I made a promise to share this, and I can talk about this all day, every day. I just want to inspire whoever wants to get control of their money, and let you know that if I've done what I've done, everyone can, every woman can. We can all be female financial powerhouses. Wow. And it's not about the amount of money. It's just about I understand money, I make money, I grow my money, and I own this. I am this. Nobody, I'm not abdicating any of this. This is mine. And not mine like possess the money, but mine as far as I have the power, the knowledge. So I call it female financial power and sovereignty. Mm-hmm. And that just comes with making a choice. Like, today's the day I'm going to get good at this money thing. I'm going to own this money thing in a very passionate, exciting, healthy way, right? It's like when let's say if we're obese and it's the day, I am tired of being unhealthy. I'm tired of feeling overweight. I'm done with this. Today's the day that I'm taking ownership of this, and I'm going to change my life. Yes. And we do that with our money too. And once we make that resolve and we make that decision, easy peasy.
Wow. I hear you, and I hear your passion. And I would venture to say this is doable regardless of your age. If today is the day, it's a good day. Am I hearing you correct?
Age does not matter. If we have a story that says I'm too old or whatever, screw that. Today's the day. And it's there's two trajectories. And so we can continue regardless of our age. Mm-hmm. We can continue to do what we've been doing that hasn't worked so far, because we don't feel that safety and security and peace of mind. But if we continue that, we can pretty much, if you look out, just ask yourself, am I in the exact same place 2 years from now? If I'm in the exact same financial place 5 years from now, if I'm in the exact same and feel this exact same way 10 years from now, that's the trajectory of continuing to do exactly what we're doing now. Mm-hmm. So there's a totally different trajectory that's available, and at any age, right? So now today, the day, it doesn't matter what my age is, whatever this date and this moment in time is, it's I'm going to choose something different. So now whatever that trajectory is, if it's 5, 10, 20, 30 years that we have to make this change, regardless, depending on what that age is, that's going to be the different trajectory for our future self that's 10 years older, 20 years older than our current age. Yes. So we get to choose what future self do we want?
Mm.
Do we want our future self to be where we are today, or do we want our future self to be living a totally different life than what he or she is going to be living by doing, by continuing doing what we're doing now?
I'm thinking about that future self and people who know you, people that, and you and I, as I move to, someone else moves towards their future self, you know what that's going to do for those who are silently watching us. We're not moving on our own volition, but we're taking somebody else along with us, because they're going to say, wow, if they can do it, I can do it too. And they'll find today is the day.
And
This is exciting stuff.
think about your children too. So I made every money mistake. I mean, I've made every life mistake, money mistake. I mean, I don't even know how I'm still here half the time. I have made every mistake more than once. But and I've still been able to, reinvent and create what I've been able to create so far, even at my age. But I had to, because of where I started, I had to learn the way I had to learn, because I had no, examples. I really had to kind of figure it out since I was walking age. Now, my children, on the other hand, they can have a different reality.
Yeah.
So, no, even if we're starting at an age that feels like for us, maybe it's not going to make a big difference, which it will, but if we feel it's not, then if we learn it today, we can save our children from making some of the mistakes so they don't have to have some of the pain and suffering that we've experienced. That ultimately, that's as parents, we want our kids to have it better than we did. So if we don't, if we're doing it for no other reason than we want to change the lineage, my kids have a totally different lineage. Like my past before me, I mean, it was the poverty lineage. I mean, generation after generation. My kids get to, start in a whole different one, and then their kids and their kids. So again, if we're not doing it for us, sometimes we can do it for reasons outside of ourselves.
Yes. I think Mother, you would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she would agree with that. You use the word learn often. So will you take us into the master classes that you offer? I think you offer weekly master classes, and then you have a large one. So you make yourself quite available. The blog, oh my God, the blog is just chock full of information. It's just, and your podcast. So Mother you is very proud of you. I would care to speak on her behalf, because you have just given us so much. But I really want to know about the master class, because are they much more intensive and intentive and intentional? Will you take us there?
Yeah. So, I do. I write a lot. I just put out a blog today, for example. I do my podcast called the Wealth of Wealthy Podcast. I have a book. If you go to Krisstina.com, I have a free copy of my book. If you want a digital download, you can buy the book form on Amazon. But if you just want to read the digital copy, so I put out a lot of free stuff, just like wherever you start, I've got it all over the place. There's information everywhere. I've got free YouTube videos and everything. So again, it's a great place to start if you're just kind of want to baby step into this and start reading some stuff. And I'm happy to lead and inspire and be your coach and teacher and just follow. And
Yes.
like I said, easy. You can find me anywhere. And then for those that actually then want to go a little bit deeper, I have a money school. It's called Sovereignty Academy, and it's about building financial sovereignty, kind of that true financial empowerment piece. And it's a 12-week school basically, and I call it like going to money night school. It's like if you went down to your local community college and went to night school for 12 weeks to learn this life skill called money. Again, it's everything you should have learned in school about money, but they didn't offer that class. And you come out of it just understanding money, completely reinventing and changing your relationship, have a financial system and plan set up, and just have a whole new lifestyle practice for what to do with your money after you make it. And it just brings so much peace of mind, that relationship, the gratitude. And again, it just radically transforms your everything to do with money.
That is a change in your health, definitely your happiness, and what you do with your money, your relationship. Krisstina Wise, you are a remarkable woman. No wonder I couldn't wait for us to have this conversation. People, thank you for offering your book, KRISSTINA.com. Is that where we have access to the masterclass, the blog, the podcast, everything?
Yeah, go there. There's a free download that actually puts you on my email list. And once you're on that, you'll be, I put out a blog every week, so you'll be told about the blog. And so I'm always doing something. So there'll never be a shortage of information. But if you go to sovereigntyacademy.com, that's more information about the masterclass. If that's something, just if you want to go direct, don't pass go, that just, type in Google how to spell sovereignty, but sovereigntyacademy.com. That's the name of my business. I'm still trying to figure out how to spell it right half the time. I know. Thank God for spell check.
But you know what, Krisstina, so many of us, we really don't have time to dabble with the blog or listen to the podcast every once in a while. We're at flood stage. And I think Mother You has alerted a lot of people to the fact that Sovereignty Academy is available, and you have to go, don't stop at go. You have to go straight, be all in. And that's especially after coming out of this pandemic. 2 million women displaced, moved out of the workplace for whatever reasons last year. Some people women are going to have to begin businesses. And I think that we are in a place in history where we have to have a good relationship with money. We have to be healthy because they're all committed. They're all connected. Now you show us how they are all connected. And I know I lost my health behind working, grinding, all of the above. And yeah, you do hit a wall and you come tumbling down. You can't even grasp the side anymore. So you have to reinvent yourself. You have to think about things differently. So, wow. One last word. I could keep talking. I just love this, the insight, the essence, the transparency, the energy that you are bringing today is just, I can hardly say it in my seat. This is so good. But I'm going to give you, in respect to your time, give us one final thought concerning Sovereignty Academy, money, our health, and our happiness, whatever comes to your mind.
Yeah, I just say that, I just like to say it's available to all of us. The universe really is abundant. There's no scarcity. The only scarcity, it exists in our mind. So once we make the decision, like not this anymore, I'm going to do something different. It's a declaration to ourselves and to the universe that says, I'm changing my situation. At that moment, anything's possible.
Come up with that partnership, get with Krisstina Wise and just do it. Just do it. Wow. I told you guys, another powerful woman, Krisstina Wise, and her website, Krisstina.com, plus Wealthy Life. Everything will be in the show notes. And as I say, I don't want to stop. This woman is so fabulous, but I must. So thank you, Krisstina. And thank you all for listening. I'll see you on the next conversation. Bye-bye now. PodcastAcademyOnline.com, built for the boomer entrepreneur ready to reposition, market, grow their business, and be found globally. Little to no podcasting experience? Well, no problem. PodcastAcademyOnline.com will guide you and launch your podcast in 7 weeks. As you sleep, someone will discover your product, your service. So come, build your podcast at PodcastAcademyOnline.com. Schedule your free consultation today. I want to thank you for listening to Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. Couple of things that I want you to do right now. Go to my website, pick up a copy of Her Business, Her Voice, Her Reinvention, how I went from game show hopping to international show host, author, and speaker in 1 year. Number 2, please freely listen to each and every episode. Share them out with your family, friends, the men in your lives. And then number 3, get in contact with me, one of the experts that have been on the show, because I want to make sure that you reinvent yourself. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode here on Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation.